All right, so I went over this in my Denver videos where I was showing you the early history of Denver and this, I don't know what you'd call it, a temple, a church, possibly for electricity. And I'll tell you why, because they had a lighting tower. And when I figured all this out, history made a little bit better sense to me of how we progressed instead of what they've told us the narrative. And the narrative would be with lighting towers and stuff is how they first started this. So I couldn't find anything on this place, this church. I've scoured all over hell and back trying to find something. But I did find this one, and as I keep going, more and more just always keeps presenting itself, and I'm able to look it up. Now I know this ain't the exact same building, but you can see both of them possibly made out of red brick. This one for sure is, but this one you don't know. But one of the things is the points on top of the building. We'll pull this one up right here. You can see that they're similar to what was originally installed on the old building and on the new one. So they could have refurbished this whole church. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is that they did this so many times is they refurbished buildings and basically said that they were just built right then and there and that time, but that's not true. They were built way before then. So we'll continue down this and I'll show you the lies, and I know what I've stepped into. So if I stop making videos, at least 1 or 2 days, and I haven't made a video, you probably understand what happened to me. But it's very vital that this truth get out, and I don't care who the fuck. I'm not scared of anyone except for God. Yeah, you can. When it comes down to life or death, God's the only one that really scares me about life and death. The rest of it is just it's Satan's entertainment. But when it comes at the end of it, you have to be honest with God and see God for who he is and see yourself for who you are. And so, like I said, I'm trying to tie all this together and give you guys a clue. And, I went over the history. I went and tried to talk to you about Central City when they had the fires, when certain things happened. And that's what um, I'm trying to help you guys understand that they couldn't have built all of this with what they did. And then the Teller House. This is a hotel that they built. It had 80 rooms, the finest hotel between the Mississippi and the San Francisco River. So I showed you in slide or Central City. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is the Teller House or hotel that they had built in Central City. It's still being used today. They said that this was one of the finest hotels east of the Mississippi. Now think about that when they're making broad speculation claims like that. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. When you look at Colorado as a whole, you start seeing this crazy lie about everything. Because CF&I was the largest steel mill east of the Mississippi. Pueblo also built one of the largest brick plants east of the Mississippi. They also had 4 to 5 smelting plants, and it was the smelting capital of the world. And like I said, when you go to each little town, it has its own little deal. Where Salida was changed because the city used to be called Arkansas Valley, and then they changed it to Salida, and that just goes on. Like Central City, or not Central City, but Colorado City used to be Colorado, or was Colorado Springs, and then they changed it to Colorado Springs. So when you try to look at history, all places, and you look what actually has happened with financials, everything, you got to put it all together. And once you do, you're going to absolutely see the hypocrisy that I'm talking about. And so let's continue on just to show you guys. I went through Salida, I went through Denver. I've gone back and forth over everything. And this one you can go through Central City and got where I got all the photographs from and look through it with along with Canyon City, Pueblo, Denver. I haven't really gone too much into Colorado Springs. Trinidad is another place I need to go. And yeah, what I've collected on Canyon City alone with Salida and what Pueblo was enough to seal the bet on this to absolutely prove that somebody's been lying to us. And now it's time to either stand up or put your head in the sand. But I am giving you physical, historical proof visually. Do not think that your eyes are lying to you because they're not. See what is actually being presented in front of you on the pictures. Because if we don't, we're going to lose this war. And it's very important that we share this with as many as people as possible. And people can use my drive in order to put videos together to show, and that's just it. Everybody learns different. As an electrician, I could tell you can run into 20 different journeymen. They're all going to teach you something different, each one of them, because it's human nature. And then two, we also learn physically and seeing the whatever task you're doing, so that way we understand what we need to do. And when I tell you, you look back at history and you look at all these buildings that these guys built and how well constructed they were, and I could tell you right now, these weren't a bunch of hacks that came from over the seas speaking 40 different languages and were able to build, you know, one of the greatest mining states ever to, hit the earth basically, because it was it. Oh man, I've never had so much love for history that I do now, especially the American history. Because now, I kept waiting for God to give me the truth on all of it, and I kept waiting, kept waiting, kept waiting, and finally God started getting me see the truth, and that's where we're at. We're in the Great Awakening. We're in the time of the end, and that's where we're at. Is the knowledge will become abundant, and yeah, that's where we're at. And if you go through my drive, I have all of this collected. Tree growth. That's a huge deal to mark time out and buildings where they were all at. So you can go through everything, and then that way you can see what I have available. And so my Twitter page, I've gone through all of this and I've tried to link all of this to give you guys an idea and what to look for and put this puzzle together so you can see what I'm seeing. And so that way we can definitely move the ball and get something started, because that's it. We need to go with God. We've watched Satan's system. We know what it is. We know that it's coming to an end. So it's time that we actually really make right with God and put away your faith that it's the only one correct, and use Jesus' example that you don't know shit until Jesus teaches you, basically. So, without being arrogant and being directly told by Jesus what is the correct religion, you must apply the two Bible principles. Love God with your whole heart and soul and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. And on those two, the entire law hangs. So, are these people treating us like they're brothers because they are lying to us about history? And when I tell you, go through this and look at all of the photographs and evidence that I've collected on this, it's staggering how much evidence I've collected. And then this, like I said, don't misunderstand me. I know exactly what I stepped into, and it's really scary. So, like I said, if I stop making videos, you kind of know what happened to me. And so, going through all these buildings to show you the dates in history, like even on this building where I didn't point it out last time, but they used two different, stone and then brick on this side. And like I said, they revamped everything. That's how they were getting away with covering history. And then this little guy, like I said, I couldn't find the original one that showed the church. All right, so this is the closest picture that I can show of the front of it. Now I know it's a little bit different than what this is, and they could have came back and redid this whole thing, and or either just tore the building down completely and then redid it. And that's what I'm trying to help you guys understand is like they built these massive stone, beautiful structures, record time, and then just tore them down within 5 years or 10 years of use, which is absolutely absurd. These buildings, if they're still in use today, are treasured landmarks, and all they need is just maintenance. That's all they need, maintenance, and they're good to go. And these buildings, like I said, when you go look at them, I mean, honestly, tell me how old you think these buildings are, because they look the same as when I was a kid, and that was almost 50 years ago. So looking at them as a kid, I remember what they look like, and looking at them today, and they haven't changed. And when I was a kid, I couldn't tell you how old they were. Now I can kind of give you an idea that they are really older than what they've told us just by all the documentation. Like when I was covering Pueblo, they built three courthouses by 1912, and the last one is the Roman style courthouse. And when I go through Pueblo again, I'm going to point out some other stuff that I've collected and see. And that's the thing, as I keep going, I keep learning more and more, and I keep trying to figure out ways to put this together to show you guys, like, hey, they fucking lied to us, and it's time to fucking get off our asses and do something. So That's where I'll leave this video at and just let you guys know. On the Chicago World Fair, this was inscribed on the arch. And this is very important to our history, our culture, to the pioneers of civil and religious liberty. But boldered, they who first offcast their moronics from the habitable past and ventured chatless on the sea of a storm, endangering liberty. Civil liberty means the building up of personal and natural toleration and religion, the best fruit of the last 4 centuries. So 4 centuries, the last 400 years, and that's when I tell you, you got to put this together and think about this as a whole. When you do, you're gonna fucking shit your pants, and that's the honest to God truth. Because I realize what the fuck I found, and it's scary. So, brothers, have fun, enjoy, and yeah, work together because we're gonna need it.